Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to News Hour live on GBC News and Governance channel. My name is Micheline Taka. We are also live on GTV and streaming live on YouTube and Facebook at Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. You're most welcome. The Minister for Finance, Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta, is holding another round of meeting with the leadership of the minority in Parliament over the controversial e-levy bill. The same meeting held yesterday ended inconclusively and was rescheduled for today. GBC sources in Parliament say the first part of today's meeting has also ended without any significant progress, and they are expected to reconvene later in the day. Information picked up indicates that the Finance Ministry has disclosed that the telcos have agreed to reduce their service charges by 0.25% from 1% to 0.75%. In view of that, the Finance Ministry has proposed to bring the e-levy down from 1.75% to 1.5%. However, the minority MPs are still opposed to the proposals. Meanwhile, the bill is scheduled to be taken through the various stages on Wednesday, February 2022. In the same vein, the Speaker of Parliament, Mr. Alban Bagbin, is expected to travel by the weekend outside the country for a medical review. It is not yet clear when he will be back, but there are suggestions that he could spend up to about a month before returning. You're watching News Hour. The Mobile Money Agents Association of Ghana says it has not been included in the ongoing engagements and dialogue on the electronic transaction levy. Government has started town hall meetings on the controversial levy to explain the importance of the e-levy in national development and to solicit inputs before its implementation. However, the Association of Mobile Money Agents say they will be forced out of their jobs if the e-levy is introduced. The president of the association, Mr. Evans Otumfuo, has joined us on the line to explain more. Hello, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon to you, and thanks to the cherished listeners and viewers.
Thanks for your time too. We are grateful. Now, government is engaging all stakeholders before implementation of this e-levy. Is it not too early to think you have been left out?
Right. I mean, the policy, came to the attention of the general public. We are in the third month now, and so I don't know the extension of time that the policymakers would want before probably considering engaging us. I think they've had enough grace period. They had enough time that, it should be enough for them to extend an invitation so that we can also have our input on the whole, policy that has generated so much of a public outcry.
Your concern is that the implementation of this e-levy will render you and your people jobless. The e-levy, as being proposed by the government, is to raise more revenue for development. How would this render you jobless? Can you please explain to us?
Right. Let me begin by having this scenario. In every business environment, definitely you are going to have the producer and then the consumer. And every consumer is always very, cautious of the price that he or she may be subjected to. Then again, we all are aware that we have an existing charges that anyone who transacts using the mobile money services need to pay. And even with this, they are complaining. And so for us to add an additional 1.75% on it, it means that the burden that we are passing on to the consumer, it is something that is very critical for the survival of the whole service. When the consumer feels, threatened in terms of the pricing, as a rational being, I will try to run away from the usage of the mobile money services. And when that happens, we exist as a result of, the customer or the one who will be patronizing ourselves. So in the absence of the one patronizing our service, then automatically we are also going to be affected, and that means we'll be kicked out of business. We have a scenario where government introduced the mobile money interoperability 3 years down the line. At the point of introduction, the charges that was placed on it was 1.5%. Now, this is what happened. 8 months after its introduction, the transaction was recorded to be 5.1 million at a monetary value of 786 million Ghana cedis. That put aside last year, 2021, the Bank of Ghana took a bold step to reduce the rate from 1.5% to 1%. And this is what happened. Transaction rose from 5.1 million to 12.1 million. The indication over here is that there has been over 120% increase in the usage of mobile money using the interoperability platform. That value also amounted to 2.3 billion Ghana cedis. So from the illustration, it means that at the point where the rate was high, consumption was somehow very low. When the price was reduced to 1%, consumption rose to, 12.1 million. So this gives a clear indication that every consumer is always careful with the price. Every consumer is always very sensitive with pricing. And so with this clear, experience that it wasn't long ago, it gives you a clear indication that, the consumer will be running away from the usage of the mobile money services simply because they feel that the price or the cost involving using the mobile money platform or service will be so exorbitant, and so they will no more use the service again. And definitely there's going to be a radical effect on we as mobile money agents also.
Very well. So what is the point? Is it that you are calling for a reduction in the percentage, or you are calling for a scrap of the bill itself?
Now, judging from my submission, we already having an existing charges already, and customers are complaining. So we don't foresee, government still holding on to the 1.75%. So our position is that government should scrap the levy off, because let's assume that since the policy has been announced, government has never engaged the Mobile Money Agents Association of Ghana. So, we don't even know anything about the whole policy. The only thing that we know is that government wants to introduce 1.75% on the industry, and that is what we are saying that is very critical. Probably government has given us the audience and matters really dealt with or matters really explained. I am sure that we might, even though we may not accept the 1.75% levy, there's a possibility that when the extreme happens, we may find a way of aligning ourselves to it. You can bring the policy all right, but implementation is another challenge or another issue that you'll be facing. And we are only waiting patiently. Government should still, keep to the adamant position. We are private investors. We own our own capital, and we decide when to go to work and when not to go to work. And so if government will say use us as an instrument to, leverage on for the collection or for generating this levy, and as at this time you have not seen the need to engage the very people who will be implementing the policy, then, we have a lot to experience going forward. Should the policy be passed?
Thank you very much, sir, for your time. I was speaking with the presidents of the Mobile Money Agents Association of Ghana, and their cry is recognizing their services, which will in turn render them jobless. The University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG strike, has entered its third week, although the National Labour Commission has declared it as illegal. The association says it will only call off the strike if government commits to meeting their demands.
The University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG, directed its members to withdraw teaching and related activities on Monday, January 10, 2022, until further notice. The association says the strike is in response to the worsening conditions of service of the university teacher and the failure of the employer to address the plight of members within the agreed timelines. On some of the campuses visited by the GTV breakfast team, Students were worried and frustrated about the effect of the strike on the academic calendar.
Things that you're supposed to do currently, since you are not doing them, when we don't know when they are resuming, so we need moments that we try that we will treat them, and the way we treat them will not be how it's supposed to be done. If we would have started it earlier. So, like, they are going to force us to do things just by force in a way that they would think that it can help us.
Last semester, because of the strike, when they resumed, the whole pressure went on us. It was too much because things that we were supposed to do, quizzes and other stuff, there were pressure on us. So we couldn't finish things that we were supposed to do. So based on that, our results and then our performances reduced.
Panelists on GTV Breakfast were of the view that government must reach a consensus with UTAG to end the impasse.
When sometimes you have a cause and you are fighting for the cause, there will be the innocent casualties, you know. And are you saying that, so because the students are going to suffer, university teachers should just roll over every time and allow it to go on? But they are also parents. What the government has to do is to ensure that they look at the demands and come to a level that is acceptable.
For me, it's disappointing. It's disappointing, it's sad, and it gives a certain picture and posture, okay, that there's something wrong with our governance. Because what these lecturers are talking about is legitimate. They've been at it for quite a while. There have been discussions, and they are saying that the meeting they had with the Minister of Education to plead wasn't something that they have confidence in, because it has happened before and nothing happened. There was a plea. They returned and they didn't see anything. And if we will be fair, they served notice. So when they served notice, what did we do? You see, when we have a certain attitude like, I'm in charge and I dictate what must be, there's a problem, because that is not governance.
Meanwhile, students of the Simon Diedong Dombo University of Business and Integrated Development Studies at Wa in the Upper West region have made a passionate appeal to the government to address the impasse between the UTAG members. They told GBC's Upper West regional correspondent Swala Abdul Wahab that the impact of the strike is becoming unbearable and that government should find a common ground to enable UTAG to call off the strike and resume lectures. Swala Abdul Wahab reports.
It's been 3 weeks since the members of UTAG embarked on strike. We are currently at the campus of the SDDU BITS to find out the impact on academic activities. This is one of the lecture halls, and you can see it is almost empty, with very few students doing their private studies.
This strike, seriously, it has affected us in so many ways. First of all, academic activities. If not because of this strike, today being Friday, we're supposed to carry out our normal academic activities and having our lectures going on. But because of the strike, the halls are empty. No one is around. And I don't know the time they may come back from the strike, but it's difficult for us to study now.
The strike has really affected me personally, because I came on the 10th of January rushing to come and meet lectures ongoing on campus, only to come and then they said there is a strike ongoing. And all the food and the money I brought is almost spent out without having any impact on me. As at this time, we should be writing our mid-trimester, but as at now that we are sitting, we don't know when the mid-trimester will be coming.
Responding to the plight of the students, the Pro-Vice Chancellor, Professor Emmanuel Dabile, says all academic activities of the university have been disrupted.
The UTAG strike has had a direct consequence, and that direct consequence is that lecturers are not in the lecture halls. The students are also in the lecture halls. So we are unable to discharge one of the key functions, which is teaching and learning, whether irrespective of whether it is face-to-face or online. So that for me is the direct, consequence. What it also means is that we have students on campus and in town, especially those who are resident in town, who have been here for some time now, with no sense of direction, and yet they have costs, in terms of their upkeep. And so all these are actually, issues of concern to management.
Professor Derville prays that the strike doesn't drag for long, else it will have a dire consequences on the university.
We're hoping that to management.
Professor Derville prays that the strike doesn't drag for long, else it will have a dire consequences on the university.
We're hoping that the disputing, parties will be able to resolve this issue, come to a certain understanding so that we can resume. If we are not able to do this, it is going to be very, very challenging, for us. And we probably may have to consider options such as double streams, in terms of lectures. But if you don't have the infrastructure, what else can you do?
You're watching News Hour live on GBC News and Governance channel. There are concerns of the people of Apiati must be suffering some severe to mild health complications after last week Thursday's explosion. Currently, the government is taking steps to resettle the displaced and affected persons who are putting up at various locations temporarily. We have joined on the line by the Western Regional Director of Health Services, Dr. Ofori Yeboah. Hello, good afternoon, sir.
Afternoon.
Doc, we are most grateful for your time. Kindly share with us some of the short and long-term health effects, possible effects on the people of Apiati.
Well, thank you very much. Following the explosion, we did receive a lot of cases of traumatic injuries in most of our facilities, which are close to the accident site. However, we have also detected that a number of them are suffering from psychological trauma, anxiety, and indeed there is even a reported case of mutism. In the long term, it is known that explosions like this may be associated with post-traumatic stress disorders and possible permanent hearing injuries as well. And as you are aware, we know the vehicle was carrying some agents. So possible exposure to toxic substances may also result in some respiratory problems in the long term. But the good news is that the Ghana Health Service, in collaboration with our partners, are actually tracking and observing these possible changes.
Well, you've answered the question with regards to the hearing impairment, but how true is this?
Yes, it is true. As I speak to you now, a team of ENT specialists which were sent to the site have already finished screening about 40 people who are reporting various forms of hearing impairments.
Very well. Are there plans to help those who might have had trauma or has been traumatized by this explosion?
Sure. We have assembled a team in collaboration with the Mental Health Authority to assess the psychological needs of the people, especially the displaced people. For those in the hospitals, they are being managed differently. But the 380 displaced people who are at the camps are also being catered for. It will also interest you to know that the Ghana Health Service has established a health post to provide primary health care to the people. So they're managing minor ailments and so on and so forth. There are people there who are pregnant and they are being taken care of. So psychosocial support is available. A team is also on the ground to make sure that there is no disease outbreak among the people at the site.
Thank you very much, sir. We are most grateful. The Burkinabe authorities at the Dakola-Paga border say the closure of the country's border after the coup only affects human movement and not cargo trucks. Some of the cargo drivers, including tomato traders at the border, said even though security at the checkpoints have been tightened, the coup has not affected their business activities in any way. We'll speak to our Upper East Regional Correspondent, Samuel Ayama. Hello, good afternoon, Samuel. Samuel, what is the current situation at the border now? Samuel, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Michelin.
How are you? Good afternoon.
I'm fine. Oh.
What is the current situation at the border now?
Yeah, thank you. For the border, as we speak, is business as usual. Nothing has changed at the border as we speak. The tomato traders, the residents that are described by security as border residents, they are going about their business, and we've not witnessed anything. Just that the military, they have been patrolling. The police, they have been moving there up and down, checking the borders, not the Paga border alone, but all the approved borders and unapproved borders. Because as we speak, Upper East, we have a lot of unapproved routes, like when you look at the Burkina side and that of the Togo side.
They're saying, how are they taking it? What is it like now?
Yeah, for the traders and those going in there to buy either tomatoes or onions, they are saying they are taking, it's a risk they are taking, because for now, they said that is the job they've chose, like that they think they are doing to earn a living. So they are moving in there, but they are not entirely happy because of the situation that is happening. But the issue is that as we speak, they said that it's only, they've closed the borders to human traffic or human movement, but for goods, they have allowed that they can move in there and then catch tomatoes. So as we speak, you move to Paga now, the main entry point for these women who are into tomato trade business. They move in there up and down, but they make sure that they don't get themselves trapped in Ouagadougou, capital of Burkina Faso, because the curfew hours there, it is from 9 p.m. onwards. 9 p.m. you are not supposed to be outside. So that has been the situation here.
Thank you very much for this update. I was speaking with our correspondent Samuel Ayama, who says that but for heavy military and the restriction on human movement, traders are going on about their activities normally, but at their own peril. The military overthrow of the constitutional government in Burkina Faso last week dominated the ECOWAS Emergency Virtual Summit on Friday. ECOWAS Chair Nana Akufo-Addo described the current instability in the region as a threat, retarding the region's development. He urged member countries to work hard to find a lasting solution to the situation in Burkina Faso and return the country to constitutional rule. sincerely apologize for the lost in sound. We'll bring you that take again. The President Nana Akufo-Addo has directed the State Interest and Governance Authority, SIGA, to initiate measures to minimize the phenomenon of continuous posting of losses by state enterprises. President Akufo-Addo told leaders and managers of state enterprises at the 2022 SIGA Policy and Governance Forum in Accra that the 5.3 billion Ghana cedi loss recorded by the state enterprises in 2020 is disturbing and unacceptable. The SIGA Policy and Governance Forum gives managers of state enterprises the opportunity to share and discuss strategies on strengthening state-owned enterprises and joint venture capital entities to increase performance. The forum focuses on optimization of performance, considers risk, debt management and compliance without ignoring the central role of governance. Currently, there are 183 state enterprises in the country. However, according to the Finance Ministry, majority of these enterprises have been recording losses, which saw a 5.3 billion cedi loss in 2020. At the heart of the 2022 SIGA Policy and Governance Forum is how to reverse this trend. Christened improving the performance of specified enterprises, leadership and technology, the Director General of the State Interests and Governance Authority, SIGA, Mr. Edward Boateng, said, enhanced performance is a requirement for all state enterprises.
We cannot manage that which we cannot measure. The books have to balance if we are to achieve our goal of building an economic superhighway. Else the President's vision of a Ghana beyond aid will be a dream. Specified entities should be the catalyst to help grow our economy and unleash our creativity.
The Minister for Public Enterprises, Mr. Joseph Kuju, said managers and leaders of state enterprises must implement policies to turn the fortunes of their entities around. A Deputy Minister for Finance, Mr. John Kuma, said government will sanction entities that fail to comply with the compliance requirement of public financial management regulations.
Government also expects to implement a financing policy to specified entities, particularly SOEs and OSCs, namely requirement for specified entities to operate on the strength of their balance sheets. Capitalization of new specified entities to be funded only through the sale of non-strategic assets and not drawn from tax revenue or added to the public debt.
President Akufo-Addo challenged managers of state enterprises to work hard to transform their respective entities and put it in a better shape than how they met it.
Between 2018 and 2019, losses posted by specified entities rose significantly by some 200%, with the Auditor General's report for 2020 making for difficult reading. At this time, when government is doing its best to see to the rapid growth of the economy, we must bring the phenomenon of posting losses to an end. There should be no reason why SIGA, which has its collaborative institutions embedded in almost all the critical sectors of the economy, such as energy, mining, agriculture, financial and allied services, ICT, and regulatory agencies, should be found wanting in the discharge of its mandate.
President Akufo-Addo further charged the leaders and managers of these enterprises to rehash their business plans so their respective entities become successful. Still at the Jubilee House, the directors of E-on-3 initiators of the Otumfuo commemorative gold coin on Thursday evening presented the Otumfuo celebratory gold coin to President Akufo-Addo. The commemorative gold coin is a lifelong project and a legacy for the Asantehene Otumfuo 82. This will also serve as a vehicle to project the country's cultural heritage.
The Otumfuo commemorative gold coin recognizes the Asanteheni's invaluable role and remarkable achievements in preserving the peace and protecting life, the development of Ghana, and ensuring peaceful coexistence of all. The initiative is by E-on-3 Group, together with the Menchia Palace, as a fitting memorial in honor of Otumfuo 32. The group was at the Jubilee House to present a copy of the gold coin to President Akufo-Addo. Mr. Hesse Japan is a lead consultant for E-on-3, and according to him, the commemorative gold coin symbolizes Ghana's rich culture.
It's important to state, Mr. President, that the gold coin is a lifelong project and not only stands as a legacy for Otumfuo 82, but it's also important for Ghana's culture and heritage.
President Akufo-Addo was grateful for the recognition and said such initiatives are good for the country.
I'm hoping that developments like these become normal and customary in the development of our nation. Too often, everything that we're doing has had to be externally induced, inspired. And I'm happy that we are gradually beginning to turn away from that image and reality. And incidents like this are important steps on the way to that development.
Revenue raised from the commemorative coin will go into the Cultural Resource Center, which would be a national heritage for the benefit of generations yet unborn.
From the 1st of February 2022, the Greater Accra Regional Coordinating Council will pull over 30,000 people on the streets of Accra for the take-off of Operation Clean Your Frontage and a massive education on the need to make Greater Accra the cleanest city in Africa. At a meeting with the clergy and some corporate bodies in Accra, the Greater Accra Regional Minister courted the necessary support to actualize his dream.
The Greater Accra Regional Coordinating Council in 2021 launched the Operation Clean Your Frontage initiative for the Greater Accra region. It expects to deploy over 3,500 people to implement sanitation bylaws under the Operation Clean Your Frontage initiative. The policy by the Greater Accra Regional Coordinating Council seeks to make it obligatory for all individuals and corporate entities to be responsible for the cleaning and greening of their immediate surroundings. The campaign will, among other things, encourage the greening of the city. The necessary bylaws have been passed and gazetted by the 29 assemblies in Greater Accra region to enable the lawful implementation of the initiative. From 1st February, the Greater Accra Regional Coordinating Council will begin to implement the policy and will deploy close to 30,000 individuals to the streets of Accra to clean and educate the general public on the initiative. 15,000 personnel will be drawn from the National Service Scheme with NADMO, the military and other security agencies supporting the exercise. The Greater Accra Regional Minister, Mr. Henry Korte, has been explaining the process and plans to make Accra the cleanest city in Africa.
Aside the National Service personnel going around from shop to shop, business to business, with flyers to educate people about what Operation Clean Your Frontage is about, we will have a cleanup at the same time, and we have selected a few areas to start this exercise. One of the areas will be from First Lights to Obechebi roundabouts. That's the Kaneshi area, both sides. We may add the calabash to it.
At a meeting with the clergy and other corporate institutions, Mr. Korte asked the clergy to use their pulpit to preach to their congregations on the need to fully participate and support the Clean Accra campaign. The General Secretary of the Christian Council of Ghana, Reverend Dr. Cyril Fayose, pledged the Christian community's support for the initiative.
So we have an awesome responsibility to do that. So we are very happy to support this project and talk to our people to also support it. So that's how we're going to do it, by speaking, sensitizing our people, creating awareness. If you go home, go and take care of your environment, clean your frontage. We'll keep hammering that message, and we believe that they will do it.
The minister also urged corporate institutions to support the initiative. On the given day, the campaign will start from 6 a.m. from the Independence Square to the Kwame Nkrumah interchange and other principal streets.
The Presbyterian Women's College of Education in the Ashanti Achim North Municipality of the Ashanti region has sent notice to illegal and potential encroachers to give off the college's land. Management is to employ all legitimate means to resist invasion by developers. Evidence by GBC News confirmed massive development of residential apartments there. Agogo Presbyterian Women's College of Education was founded in 1931 by the Basel Mission to train women teachers for the then Girls Middle School. Situated on a 43-acre land, the college is, however, confronted with challenges. Key among them is inadequate residential facilities on campus to accommodate staff members. Also, there is the ever-increasing prospective applicants who are denied admission due to inadequate classroom space and students' accommodation. These challenges are partly due to encroachment of the college's lands by private developers. A media tour organized by management of the college confirmed massive development of residential apartments, with some completed and occupied. The principal of the college, Reverend Dr. Grace Ntimadase, warned that if the rate of encroachment is not urgently addressed, there will be no space for the college to implement its strategic master plan that seeks to transform the institution into a center of excellence. Reverend Dr. Mrs. Sintim Adase explained that some unscrupulous persons have taken advantage of the situation to frequently attack students of the college, especially at night. Hence, the call for assistance to ensure security.
We need protection in the form of good security here, and also we need philanthropists to also come and help us wall the school, and again the traditional rulers should come to our aid and help us reclaim the land that our forebears.
In a bid to make water available to rural communities, the Rotary Club of Accra West has inaugurated a mechanized borehole project for residents of Adomabere near Ebri in the eastern region.
We get our source of water from a stream in Ebri. It's always polluted.
A daily experience for the people of Adamrobe in search of potable water. This is a community of farmers and commercial drivers. Upon a need assessment, the Rotary Club of Accra West stepped in to construct a mechanized borehole to serve the water needs of the residents. The 57,000 Ghana cedis project is a relief for the people. The committee leaders expressed their appreciation to the Rotary Club of Accra West for the laudable gesture, saying, "He who gives water has given life." With COVID-19, which places a lot of emphasis on hand washing and personal hygiene, the club extended the project to the Adomrobe Anglican Primary and Junior High School, the only government school with a student population of 700. Authorities at the school also thanked the Rotary Club of Accra West for the initiative. They appealed to the club to support the school with some academic materials. The president of the Rotary Club of Accra West, Rotarian Neiram Kukula, said Rotary Club Dallas, Rotary Club Ivan Sunrise are partnering Global Grants Ghana Water Project for this initiative. Similar projects are being replicated in districts within the Eastern region by the Rotary Club of Accra West.
Enhancing natural forest and agroforest landscape projects components of the Ghana Forest Investment Program has received major support. Managers of the project, the Forestry Commission, have received 8 vehicles out of the 13 to augment their fleet, enhance work of the rehabilitation of mined out areas, and also tackle deforestation. Clara Mlano reports.
East, Ahafo, Western North, Ashanti, and the Eastern regions are the implementation areas of the Ghana Forest Investment Program. The vehicles, 5 Toyota Hilux pickups and 3 Toyota Land Cruisers, will support project activities and monitoring of plantation development activities. The project is purposely targeted at halting the fast trend of deforestation and forest degradation, reduce greenhouse gases, and improve community livelihoods.
Access to means of transport in project management is not a luxury, but a necessity to sustainable project implementation, especially looking at the rough terrain in which the GFIP is being implemented. The forest district we are located, the pickups are Bekwai, Bebiani, and I've been told Chebi.
The Forestry Commission says following a successful implementation of the 5-year Ghana Forest Investment Program, the World Bank approved additional funding to restructure and continue the project to include reclamation of mined-out areas due to small-scale mining.
We want to ensure that at the end, the use of the vehicles will contribute to protecting mine-out sites, but also contributing our quota to private participation in protecting and preserving the forest cover of our country.
Valued at $800,000, project implementers were prompted to put the vehicles to good use and ensure proper maintenance. For GBC News, Clara Mlano reporting.
You're watching News Hour live on GBC News GTV, YouTube and Facebook, all at Ghana Broadcasting Corporation.
Hello, you're watching the business news with me, Esther Edu Ohumeu. I am confident that the e-levy will not erode the gains made in digital transactions as is being suggested. These words from the Minister for Communications, Mrs. Ursula Owusu-Ekufo, were in an address at the government's town hall meeting on the e-levy at Koforidua.
We've learned lessons from the experiences of other countries that have introduced digital taxes in this continent. And that is why the Minister for Finance has put a cap, a safety cap, whereby transactions up to 100 cedis are exempted from the levy to ensure that those who send these sums are not severely impacted. And 40% of all Momo transactions fall in this category. So almost half of all the transactions are exempted. Business has moved from physical locations online, outside the reach of the GRA, and depriving government of much needed revenue. We need to reverse that, and the e-levy will do that. It will enable government to build a proper digital infrastructure and create a digital marketplace which will connect buyers and sellers and help people access value-added services such as e-health, e-agric, e-education, etc.
Still at a town hall meeting, the finance minister, Mr. Ken Oforiatta, says the country risks facing dire economic hardships if the electronic transaction levy is not approved by Parliament.
Can we sustain our debt and pay for it ourselves so we don't go out borrowing so much? Can we have the resources to support employment, which is key and affects all of us, and really is very dispiriting and breaking down the dignity of our people? That is not the people that we are. And then can we support our infrastructure to be able to then increase productivity, move around the country, and create that modern society that we talk about. So when people say, why e-levy and why you should reduce it? Well, we listened. We truly listened and said, well, maybe when something is new, you know, we can have very negative thoughts on that. But we've heard a lot of the history of that, and that people one way or the other in opposition would oppose anything, whether it's good or bad. But we all know, that the council normal effort and here so that really is what we talk about when we say we want this e-levy to ensure that we are masters of our own destiny, that what happened with COVID will not have such a devastating effect because we'll have our own resources and we'll be able to guide ourselves in the way in which we've managed.
And to further explain if the gains made in financial inclusion and digitization will definitely not be eroded by the e-levy, we have an economist, Mr. Habib Adams, on the line. Good afternoon, Habib.
Good afternoon.
So, in your opinion, did the town hall meeting serve its purpose?
Well, to some extent, we would say yes. Somehow, even though they do that a bit, but at least it has generated some discussion in the country, and that means that it's serving its purpose somehow.
And also, the finance minister said there will be an economic disaster if the e-levy does not go through. Your comments on that?
Yes, there will be a challenge to that because it will affect the revenue of the government, because we're looking at about 6.8 to almost 7 billion from the that's the expected revenue from the e-levy. So if that is taken out of the budget, that will really be a serious challenge to government. And so I do hope that everybody will come around so that it is implemented. Because a week ago or two, I heard the former finance minister, Mr. Tepe, also appealing to Ghanaians to support the e-levy. Because this is not about politics or government parties around Ghana. At the end of the day, it is Ghana. If they are able to raise this, it is Ghana that's going to suffer. And the last thing we want is to go back to the IMF. And so whatever that it will take for us to generate the needed external revenue, then we have to do that. It will be difficult, but we all have to understand that it is necessary. Because government itself has made a lot of concessions, you understand, in terms of its expenditure. It has cut down the number of ministers. It has cut down its expenditure on goods and services. So there are a number of things that government has done on its part as a goodwill to the Ghanaians to also see the sacrifice that it has made. So I'm sure that everybody will come around eventually. I know it's difficult, but I know everybody will come around.
So do you agree with what the Minister for Communication said, that the e-levy will not erode the financial inclusion gains made so far?
Yes, that will not happen, but we can expect a slight dip at the beginning. Because there's always the tendency for people to react. Okay, you implemented the e-levy, and so when I send money, I'm going to pay this amount of money after. So I'd rather not do the move. And just to give you a practical example, on a very light side, you know, this one, I was just looking at someone, and the person said, oh, with the implementation of the e-levy, they will not send money to their girls. They would rather ask them to come. And I said, okay, if you're asking the lady to come for the money, she will come in an Uber or a taxi. Who's going to pay for that? You will have to add that to whatever you are giving. So compare that one to sending them Momo and paying maybe 2 cities or maximum 5 or even 10 cities. So initially people would ask somehow, but eventually it will still be more cost effective to do that, to transfer money to the e-levy than to want to do the cash, because you have to drive to the bank, you queue, you go in. So if you are driving and you have a car, look at the amount of money you spend on fuel. If you don't drive, the short road that you take, look at the amount of money you spend to go to the bank. The inconvenience, you understand? So we are also the opportunity cost. What will take you to the bank and back, you could do something better. Just by doing your Momo on your phone, withdrawing your money through the interoperability, sending it to whoever you want to send to, then to go to the bank, withdraw. You know, if you look at that, you see that it should be cost effective to still use the memo. But we still admit that there will be a slight dip at the beginning. People will hold on, but I'm sure eventually everybody will come around it.
Habib, the speakers were clear on one thing. It's either the e-levy or we go back to the IMF. Are we at a point where we need a bailout?
Well, without the e-levy, it will be a challenge for government unless government is ready to take some very hard decisions. For instance, government already spent close to 3 billion on the free SHS. Probably the government can think of reviewing it. Okay, those who can pay should pay. Assuming government is able to recoup half of that, that will be some money. In the energy sector, government for the last 3 years spent over 6 billion in subsidizing the energy sector. So the government decided 6 billion each year for the last 3 years. Government has spent that. So assuming government decides that, okay, without the passage of the e-levy, then I will no longer subsidize the energy sector. The tariff should go up and then people pay this will affect industry, this will affect even ordinary citizens. So government is trying to avoid some of these hard decisions that have to take. And by bringing it onto the e-levy, it is the best way of trying to manage it. You understand? Instead of just taking this hard decision. For now, that is our best bet. The e-levy is our best bet. But if it doesn't come, the options are clear. Either government take those hard decisions and make sure that those subsidies and other things that it provides for Ghanaians are stopped, or we go to the IMF. Even at the COVID, government is still recruiting. So all these things will be stopped. At the IMF, for 4 years, there was no recruitment. Government was far from taking those beyond a certain threshold. All these things will come. And so I don't think we want to go back to that.
Okay.
So
we want to end the
interview. For Ghanaians to look at the consequences if we don't pass this e-levy bill. And then think of all of us coming around.
All right. Thank you so much, Habib Adams. Habib Adams is an economist speaking on the town hall interview. I will take the interbank and commodity figures for the day.